Here is a simple demonstration of how I'm going to generate a WebID associated with my personal data space that is then associated with an X509 certificate that I am going to integrate into my Safari browser. Once this is done, I will then be able to use my Safari browser to go to visit a number of places that support either OpenID or the WebID protocol. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is sign into my data space in the conventional sense. So I'm challenged for my username and password. And so the first thing I'm trying to do here, using my personal data space platform, is edit my profile. And so I go into security, and then I go into X509 certificates. And what I want to do is generate one specifically for my Safari browser. So I click on the generate button. What happens straight away is basically via my particular data space platform, I've been able to issue an operating system level instruction for the keychain manager, which is the component of Mac OS X for managing certificates and their associated private keys. So what you can see straight away here is an entry that shows you the certificate and the key associated with that certificate from my action just instigated from my data space. So let's take a look at the information associated with my certificate. So there's my name, my email address, and further down you can see the public key information. So for instance, a critical piece of information lies here. So the technical term for this is the modulus, but don't worry about that for now. And then you have the exponent. The most important thing about these two pieces of information is that ultimately WebIDs are about performing a search over the web or any HTTP network against this particular address. Now, this address is a combination of an actual name, which is the WebID, and a document which actually has a representation of my profile. And so the whole link data thing is about a SPARQL query that searches for this data here and this data here using this location as the data source. So let me show you how this works. So remember, I was in my data space and I issued a command to create a new certificate. So let's see my certificate. There it is. Now what I want to do is enable WebID-based logins, which is how the certificate comes into use, for my specific data space. So all I do is I click on the edit button, which is going to show me the certificate I've created, and you can sort of see some information that you saw in the prior screen from the Mac OS X keychain manager application. So I simply hatch this checkbox, save my certificate, and what it's really doing is actually writing that public key information into my structured profile, which is managed by my data space platform. Now we're done. So what I'm going to do first of all to verify that this has all worked is simply log out and then log back in. This time, rather than clicking on sign in, I'm clicking on the padlock, which indicates I want to go in using my WebID. So as you can see straight away, it presents me with a number of IDs that I already have. So the question is, okay, a number of certificates. So which certificate holds the ID that is required for me to get into my data space. Now, the great thing about Safari's UI is that I can simply say, show certificate information, and actually look at each certificate. Now, of course, I'm looking for this one. It was generated today. Strangely, it says Sunday. Well, but anyway, it was generated today. So I pick that and hit continue. So as you can see, straight away, I'm logged in. No username and password challenge. But more importantly, let's go beyond my data space, because remember, WebIDs are about global single sign-on across any HTTP-based data space, be it on the public web or within your intranets. So I'm going to, repeat this exercise, i.e. the authentication aspect of this exercise, using StackOverflow and Identi.ca. So first of all, what I need to do with Identi.ca is attempt to log in, using OpenID. Now, an important thing to remember here, which is what caused my pause earlier on, is that in my prior demos, I would actually have to log into Identi.ca to set up the association between my OpenID and my Identi.ca account. I already have an OpenID relationship established within my Identi.ca account. But the important thing here is this. I have more than one certificate associated with my WebID. And because of that capability in my particular data space platform, I don't have to set anything up here at all. So when I click Login, all that happens is Safari gets challenged, and as I did when logging into my own data space, I simply pick the certificate of relevance and simply say continue. And I'm in. And the reason why I'm in is because of the power of linked data. The extension to the sort of native TLS SSL protocol has a little tweak that includes the use of a query over the web to simply verify that this certificate has public key components that match the public key components that were written to my structured profile. That's it. So let's go over to Stack Overflow. And again, I attempt a login here. And one more time, I put in my OpenID URL. And again, I simply log in. And there we go. No username, no password, no need to set up the OpenID to account association, because everything is based on a single WebID that very, very intelligently delivers on this much needed feature called unambiguous verifiable identity for HTTP-based networks, such as the World Wide Web or any of your internal intranet, extranet style networks that drive enterprise collaboration type solutions. Thank you.